All right, so thank you to everyone who is joining us tonight for our virtual job shadow with optometrist Dr. Josephine. And Dr. Josephine, please pronounce your last name because I want to make sure I'm saying it.
Owoeye.
Owoye.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you're saying away.
Wait. Oh, Owoye. Okay.
There.
Nice. All right. So I'll get some practice with saying that tonight. So welcome to everyone who is joining us. You are here for a virtual job shadow brought to you by Trey. Triathletes is a Dallas-based youth nonprofit, and our mission is to empower athletes to be leaders, role models, and influential voices for their communities. Our leadership development program serves high school basketball players and their families from over 40 zip codes across Dallas. Our triathletes are headed to play basketball at colleges and universities across the country and work every day to be leaders on and off the court. So our virtual job shadow tonight will be a moderated conversation between me and Dr. Owoeye. After that, we will have Q&A from the audience. So if you have questions as we're talking, feel free to put them in the Q&A slot or in the chat, and we would love to answer those questions. At this time, we are going to go ahead and get started. And so again, Dr. Owoeye, thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy that you could take the time out of your busy schedule of serving people and keeping eyes healthy to talk to us tonight. So just to get started, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
So a little bit about myself. My name is Josephine Owoeye. I'm a pediatric optometrist, and I work at the University of Pikeville, Kentucky College of Optometry. And so I'm very fortunate because I get to practice in an optometry school. So this is why this is really neat. So I can give you information about admission and things like that. So we can do that too tonight. Besides that, I love photography and I love my job very much. So I'm excited to be here.
We are so excited that you are here. So you are an optometrist. Did you want to be an optometrist? Is that
So? Yeah, so I always knew. I think when I was about 10 years old, I had my first eye exam, the first one I remember. And I knew from there that I wanted to be an eye doctor and I wanted to be an eye doctor for kids. So I think it was in the way the person was reading me and I was like, well, I could do this too. And so since then I was hooked and I'm doing it today.
Wow, that's great. So you had a positive experience with an eye doctor when you were a kid and that really influenced you. So where did you grow up, speaking of when you were a kid?
So I grew up in the DC area.
From the DC area.
Maryland.
Okay. Nice, nice, nice. So right now you say you teach at a school of optometry. Where did you actually go to school when you were studying optometry?
Okay. So I went to the Pennsylvania College of Optometry in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's a university, but that's where I decided to go to optometry school.
Okay. And what about for undergrad? Because I know like in order to go to like medical school, essentially, you have to first go to undergrad to get a degree and then you apply later. Can you tell us about where you went and what the major was when you first started?
Sure. So I went to Maryland College Park. I did my bachelor's in biology, and then I did another one in psychology because I knew I was going to be taking care of people and talking to people. So I decided to tag on and do a double major. So I did biology and psychology. And then after that, I went into optometry school. I didn't gap year. I didn't take any time. I just went straight through.
What was that like for you? Just like doing like I know medical school can be kind of grueling.
It was, you know what? So if you have that determination that it's something that you want to do, I knew I was going to go straight through and I did. It was work. So optometry school is a lot of, you want to be an eye doctor, right? So it's a lot of work to do that. So a lot of work, but it took determination, it took discipline and consistency, just making sure that I was consistently doing what I was supposed to do in order to reach my goal.
Thank you for sharing that. And I love those keywords that you just to us as far as like what it took for you to get where you are. You said it took a long time. Can you break down the time frame that it took for you once you graduated high school to get to being a full license and ready to practice optometrist?
Okay, so right after high school, I actually went to a community college. So saved me some money. I lived at home with my parents. And then I went on to that 4-year college, University of Maryland, of course. I did the double major. And then after that, went on to the Pennsylvania College of Optometry. Right after that, I decided to do my residency in pediatrics because in order to have specialty, so I'm not an optometrist, I'm a pediatric optometrist. To have that specialty, you have to do a residency in order to do that. So right off the bat, I did my residency right away too. And I was fortunate though, because of that residency, because of that experience, because of that depth, I was able to get my first job at Hopkins University, a hospital in Baltimore. So, but it's because of that depth, right? And that's why when you're thinking about this, guys, make sure you're setting yourself up for the best opportunities. And in order to do that, you have to kind of have all these experiences and put them together so that you look good, right? So that you're look really good.
Nice. So it's like you had to, like, you planned that out. It worked really nice for you.
It did work.
To hear. Okay. Well, it's great to hear about the journey of how you got to where you are today. Let's talk a little bit more about what you are doing today. Can you walk us through like what a typical day looks like for you?
Sure. So a typical clinic day, it starts at around 8:30. And I have patients booked. So I have kids booked throughout the day where almost every 30 minutes, there's another child. Sometimes I see multiple kids from one family, right? So a family of 3 can come in and they'll have 3 slots and I see them all in one room and I love all one room. So that's pretty much what it's like. And then since I now work at the optometry school, I also have students with me. So it's also fun because I get to teach students how I'm taking care of the patients. So that runs till about 12 in the afternoon. I get a break and then and then.
I think you're breaking up a little bit. Dr. Owoeye? All right. Bear with us, audience, as I'm sure that her internet will pop back in a moment. Make sure as you guys are watching, if you do have any questions, that you're typing them in, as we love to answer those. Dr. Owoeye? Okay. Well, she has left, and I'm sure she'll join again. Thank you for the question, Micaiah. Great question, and we will make sure we answer that. So bear with us as we give her a moment to join us again. So it's actually interesting for me that we're talking to an optometrist, and I'm actually probably going to ask Dr. Owoeye about this, is because last year around this time, I was actually preparing myself to get LASIK eye surgery. So I'm not sure if she does LASIK, but I know usually young kids don't get that. So that's something I want to learn more about. That process for me was a grueling process, but I'm very happy because I can see. So some of you who may wear glasses and who are kind of blind or very dependent on your glasses or contacts, you may be thinking about that. So I have some knowledge on that, because it was definitely an interesting healing process for sure. I guess like we don't really think about how important I think for some of our athletes in the audience, know how important it is. I can't imagine if I had to play basketball or any sport really if I wasn't able to see. So I like to talk to her about some of those things. Okay. So I'm waiting for Dr. Wade. How many of you guys in the audience actually wear contacts or glasses? Let me know that in the chat. And also, if you wear contacts or glasses, how old were you when you started? I think these days it's so common for people to be wearing contacts and glasses. I started wearing mine when I was in 4th grade. So like basically my whole life. Okay, she's back. I'm going to bring her back on. Okay, Dr. Owoeye, you're back. Yeah, okay. Someone and I just said they were wearing glasses and then they moved to contacts because it is definitely hard to play sports depending on what the sport. Actually, probably all sports, you probably would need to wear contacts. So I know some basketball players, they wear like the goggles. All right, so we're gonna wait for her to
There you go.
Hi, you're back.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Good. Okay, you can't see me, right?
No, we can see you.
Okay, great.
Okay. Have you back. All right, so we missed you while you were gone. We were talking with the audience about which of them are wearing glasses and contacts, and I was telling everybody a little bit about my LASIK eye surgery journey. But to jump right back in, and before you got disconnected, you were telling us about a typical day for you. And you do teach students too, and you were telling us that it's fun for you because you get to teach them as well while you're seeing your patients. So continue to tell us about what a typical day is for you.
Yeah, so, and the day ends probably about 3:30 in the afternoon. Of course, I have students with me, so I get to teach them as well and kind of coach them through and be a mentor to them as well. So that's why I love what I do every single day. So I do the teaching part, and then I also do the, taking care of the patient, just loving on each patient that comes in the door.
Okay, and you said that's a clinic day. So when you're not doing clinics, then what does the day look like for you? Are you actually in the classroom, like doing lessons with your students? Is that what you're doing on those non-clinic?
Yep. So I also teach. So I teach pediatric related courses. And so anything that has taking care of kids, letting kids be able to see and coaching them, that's what I do during the day as well. And then I also work in administration. So I'm also an assistant dean. So like being an assistant principal. So I get to make policy as well for the.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. So I love that you're really involved in the education piece of it. What made you want to also teach? Did you know you wanted to also be a teacher of optometry when you started off, or did that just something kind of fell in your lap that way?
So I did know I wanted to teach. I know that, and I'm so fortunate to have a job where I am able to get into that. So another thing about, so real life here, another thing about optometry, it allows you to have a flexible life where you can also have kids. So my kids are coming in the room, so I apologize for that. But it allows me to be in administration, take care of kids, take care of the family too. Of course, you need to coach the families of what's going on with their kids. And then during my other days, I teach. So I teach in classroom, mentor students. I love doing that, set policy for the school, put the policy for the school. So I love doing that as well.
Nice. So with the kids that you see, like what's the youngest age that you typically, how old is your youngest patient? I guess is the question.
So the youngest patient I've seen was 4 days old. So in my career.
4 days old?
4 days.
I thought you were gonna say like 6 or something. You see kids that young?
Yep, 4 days old.
Okay. Is that typical that you see kids that young?
So because of the setting, so I'm also in a hospital. So sometimes we can get referrals and things like that. Oh, please look at this kid, was just 2-3 days ago. But my typical day is usually the kids that are probably about 18 months and up.
Okay. So what's your favorite thing about your job?
My favorite thing is the flexibility. Just the fact that I get to do all these things, the mentoring, the teaching, the parenting, the fact that I get to teach, mentor, see patients, watch patients grow. So I've actually seen some patients since the age of like 5 to 15. So I see how they have grown. So that is what really drives me.
That sounds good. What about a misconception that people have about your job?
Ooh, so that's a pretty big one. So the misconception, the biggest one, is that all eye doctors or optometrists just give glasses. Not all we do. So like I just said, I've seen a 4-day-old kid before. That kid is definitely not coming to me for glasses, right? They were coming to me because there was a pathology, there was something wrong. So that's the biggest misconception. Sometimes we're seeing patients that have diabetes. I have to look inside the eyeball to make sure. I have to make sure that there's no high blood pressure spilling into the eyes. I have to make sure that kids know how to focus well. So it's not just the eyeglasses, it's more than that.
That, you know what, that's true. That's actually a misconception I have. I didn't even think about all those things. The other thing that you do besides just glasses and contacts, because that's what you think about when you think of an optometrist, but does go into like caring for the health of your eyes besides that.
Right.
So
Right.
another question I have for you is, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
In 5 years, I will still be doing this. I will still be seeing kids. I will still be in administration in a mentoring future eye doctors and still seeing kids and still teaching.
And still teaching. So that means you must really love what you do.
I do. I do. It's been good to me.
Okay. What's a piece of advice that you would give to your younger self now?
Okay. The advice that I would give to my younger self would be make sure you go out and get experiences. So, like tonight, I know you have a few people on. This is one of those experiences that you want to make sure you get, right? Because you get to hear people talk about what they're doing. Definitely those experiences is what you want to get into. And then if you know you want to be an eye doctor, so future myself, if you want to be an eye doctor, make sure you go shadow one. So right now you're shadowing one, but also make sure that you actually go out and you actually hang out with one. So your own eye doctor. So I know some of you here said that you contacts. So next time you go to see your eye doctor, make sure you say, well, can I come just hang out with you for just 30 minutes to an hour, just to see how their day goes, right? So those experiences are very, very important.
Okay. Thank you. That's some really great advice that you just gave. I know you have some slides and some videos that you share. If you like, you can share those at this time.
Well, I think you will have to share them for me. So I think my technology here is not working. Do you have them?
I do have them. Good thing you sent them to me.
Yes, ma'am. And that's another thing. Always be prepared.
Always be prepared. Yes, as much as you can be prepared. All right.
So,
I'm gonna and open up the PowerPoint then, and then you can talk to us about what we are seeing.
okay. So, so the second slide there, I don't know if you have all that we're posing together. I can't see myself, but so that slide.
I haven't started sharing it yet. You'll be able to see it as well when I start sharing it. It's
okay, great. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, just give me one moment. My computer is being slow too. We're having all the technology issues today. Okay, my PowerPoint application. You know what? I can open this in my drive instead. This is not acting right. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and share this.
Okay.
All right. Rebecca, I just sent you a message so I can be able to share my screen. All right. All right, so now, Josephine, you can see the screen.
Yep, I can. The second slide there, right there. So, and this is just walking you through my typical day or any of my days. So upper left there, that there's a young lady that I saw last Halloween. Of course, she walked in, she was a patient as a patient, but then she dressed up like me. So just loving on your patients there, that's something that optometry allows you to do. Of course, for the kid to now come in and say she wanted to dress like me for Halloween Day just kind of made me feel good. And upper right there, that's another patient that I was taking care of. And you see the equipment that there, that's called a slit lamp. And that just allows us to look at the front of the eye. And I'm also holding a lens with my right hand. It allows us to look inside the eye. So all the way inside the eyeball. And the picture on the bottom there was actually me lecturing one time in class where we had a photographer come in and snap that picture. That's my day in one slide. So I go from seeing patients, seeing bigger patients, and teaching.
Nice. I love that we can actually like see like what your day looks like. Thank you for sharing these pictures.
Sure. And so this slide here, that upper left is actually the building that I work in. So that's the College of Optometry at the University of Pikeville. Here
Nice.
in Pikeville. Beautiful building. Thank you very much. It's like $75 million, but thank you. So that's where we get to work. That's where I get to train my students. So really cool. And then upper right there are, so in optometry, you also get to the community. So those are actually my students, and we all went out to an elementary school to do a vision screening. So not only are we teaching the students, I also get to give back by going into the community, and you can do that as well. So bottom left is an optometry camp that we do every summer here on campus for the students from last year. So I get to mentor as well. And then bottom right, that's some of the technology that we use. That's actually an eyeball on there. And it's really cool, like 3D technology in order to teach. So optometry allows you to teach technology, teach about the eyes on technology, take patients and use new technology. So it's really cool.
Do you guys ever use like 3D printing when you're doing any work on the eyes or trying like get like a model or something?
So we have models, so not quite the 3D printer. I'm sure we'll get there, but we have a lot of models that we use as well. So in this particular lab class, in that picture on the bottom right there, in that particular lab, we do the virtual anatomy, but we also have the models that we use. So we break the model apart and we show it that way as well.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go to the next slide then.
Sure. I wanted to put this slide here, so all the way up left.
This one, yes, the eye.
So the last slide, there you go. So right there, that's actually what the eyeball looks like if I try to look into the eyeball. So you have the eyeball itself, you have the retina, which is the red part at the back of the eye. I call it the carpeting inside the eye. Then you have the lens, the pupil, of course, a lot of you have heard about that. And then you have the cornea. That's where the contact lens will sit on, people, those of us that wear contact lenses. So you will notice that the job of the eye doctor is to check out all of these things about the eyeball. So it's not just one thing, it's not just glasses. I have to check all these things as well. That bottom right picture is actually the way the back of your eye looks. So if I was to do an eye exam on any of the people here today, this is how the back of your eye should look. This is a healthy eye.
Okay. So that's how you know if there's something wrong, if it doesn't look like this.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wow. I've never my eyes. So I'm kind of in awe right now. Like that's the back of my eye looks like. Wow. Okay. Very cool.
And I just wanted to put this last slide in, well, second to the last slide, because there's that slit lamp again that we're using to look inside the eye. So how can I look inside the eye all the way to the retina? It's with one of these lenses and also this big microscope. It's actually a slit lamp. We call it slit lamp. And then the young lady there, bottom right. She actually graduated 2 weeks ago. Thank you very much. So
Wow.
she's now, I know. So she's now an eye doctor, but here is not just fitting glasses. She's making sure that that patient is able to focus well. So like I said before, it's not just about the eyeglasses. It's about making sure that the efficiency of the eye is good too.
Nice. Okay. And then I believe we next have a video. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna share the screen of the video as well. All right, so we're gonna watch this short video.
I'm protecting one of the most important senses. I love what I do. Being an optometrist gives me
Okay, I love because seeing it just makes you guys look like superheroes. If I would have seen a video like that, that shows like this high energy, these fun doctors who are essentially like what that first guy said, protecting the most important feature that we have. I think that's really valuable. So with that, I think that we can move to the next part of our discussion here, which is going to be some questions that we're going to have from the audience. So I believe the first person that we're going to have asking a question is going to be Christian Weddington is going to come on, and he's going to be joining us in a moment to ask you a question. He's here.
Hello.
Hi,
Hey, Brian.
Christian.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We're good. Thank you for asking.
Hey, this is Josephine. One of the things I wanted to know is what biggest things that made you want to become an optometrist?
So one of the biggest things was the fact that I wanted to be able to make sure that kids have better vision. So, and the reason for that is they don't know what they're supposed to see, right? They don't know how good they're supposed to see. I wanted to make sure I could be one of those people to help them see the way that they're supposed to be. So that was one of my big drives. Like, kids can't tell that they're supposed to see better. So I wanted to be one of the people to give them that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for your Christian.
No problem.
Dr. Owoeye, that's such an interesting thing that you just mentioned, because you said that kids don't know how they're supposed to see. Like that means that you like have a very specialized skill set, because you have to be able to help them and to realize when they're not seeing something. And I just thought about that because I read a book about a little girl who glasses for her whole life, but she didn't know. And then she got them and she realized that like trees didn't look the way she thought they did. Like her house didn't look the way her parents didn't look the way she thought they did. So it's just really interesting that like to put that on perspective, because seeing kids versus adults is very different. So we're gonna have another participant come ask you a question. We have Walker Ortiz, who's gonna come on next. Okay. Walker Ortiz is not going to come on. So for the question from Walker, it says, do you use some type of equipment to that you use with the split lab? What other type of equipment do you use to check eyes?
So I have to have specialized lenses. sometimes very fine lenses, and I have big lenses to look at the eye. I also have I have what we call a retinoscope. So that's how I get to measure what kind of prescription they have. So I use a bunch of things, even the way, you know how we do 20/20 vision and we check that chart and you have the
Yeah.
chart. The ones I kids is totally different from the ones I use for adults, right?
Right.
So as soon as a kid walks in, I have to make sure I use the proper target for the age group that comes in.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I guess like if you have like really young kids, you can't tell them to like to let you know, well, what letters do you see? Because
Sure.
there aren't going to be any letters that they recognize at early age, especially for like the kid you saw who was 4 months old, which is something totally different. You're using different kind of equipment.
Correct.
Okay, we have a few other questions. We're gonna see if we have some more people who are interested. The next question we have is Ulysses Perez, and this person wants to know: has the pandemic affected your work and work style?
Yes, it has. So just like it's affected everybody else, but the good thing about it is, and also goes to everybody listening, it allows you to know how adaptable you are, right? So it sure has. So one of the big things is I'm a hugger. So after I'm finished with my patients, I hug them because they're my kids. And now I can't hug them. So that's one of the things. And then another one is now having to wear, I have to cover my hair now. I have to wear a face mask in order to see all these kids. And sometimes they don't understand. So I have to be reassuring for them that I am still trying to take care of you, even though I have this face mask on and you're 3 years old and you don't understand it. So it has changed what I do.
Okay. Did your office shut down at all then during this time? And you guys just, yeah?
Yeah, we did have to shut down, but we were still doing emergency because of course anything can happen, right? So we
Right.
were still doing emergency, but now we're kind of opened up a little bit.
Okay, that's nice. I'm sure you're happy that you're able to see your little people.
My people.
I can tell you really love working with the young kids. All right. Next we have is, did you choose your specialty before you began optometry school, or how did you know pediatrics was the right residency for you?
Ooh, that's a very good question. So for me, I did, because it was that experience. And that's why I want you guys to go out and get experiences. So it was that experience as a kid, like, well, I think I could do this for kids as well. However, that being said, now I'm going to talk as a teacher who also teaches. When you go out and get experiences, you don't have to know what specialty you want to do before going to optometry school. Because when you get into optometry school, you're going to have these different experiences, see different eye diseases, and see the ones that you like, and then you may decide to do a residency from there. You don't have to pick your specialty before coming to optometry school.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for answering that. So everyone in the audience, make sure that if you do have any questions, we'd love to hear them. This is your opportunity to ask burning questions you have. So go ahead and submit those to the Q&A. And Dr. Owoeye would be happy to answer those. So we asked you already, what was the biggest reason that you want to be an optometrist? That was from Christian. The next question we had, when you kind of touched on this a little bit about what you find most enjoyable about your, I think you said for that question that what you find to be most enjoyable is working with the kids and the flexibility that you have, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I want to talk about what's one of the biggest challenges that you face in your work.
So one of the biggest challenges that I face, and not just me, so the whole optometry community, is the fact that we have different laws in different states. So when I moved here to Kentucky, the way I practiced was totally different because of the different laws. So optometry is a profession that's governed by laws, and it's state laws. So the biggest challenge that we face is the fact that I can practice a certain way in one community, and when I get to another one, I have to practice a different way. But thankfully, that's starting to shift now, because now technology is helping us with everything we're able to do, and people are starting to catch up. So other states are catching up.
Okay, good. Happy to hear the other states are. It's really important. And I guess speaking of that in that same realm, as a doctor and as a teacher, top of what the latest technologies are. What do you do to keep yourself up to date about what's new in the healthcare of eyes?
Yeah. So continuous. So I love to teach, but I also love to learn. So new studies. So I'm also into research. So new studies. What is it telling us about how to take care of kids? So not only do I work in that realm, I also learn from it. So my colleagues that are doing research, what's the new book? What's the latest information just for kids now, but also for any optometrist? What's the new technology? What's the new laser we can use for that eye bump on the eye to shave it off? What's the new laser we can do to help people with glaucoma?
Okay. Another question for you. Christian would like to know how many years of residency to become an optometrist. I know you mentioned you did 4 years for your bachelor's, and then how long was like your residency for this?
So after bachelor's, it was 4 years of optometry school, and then residency. Optometry residency is a year. Okay. And right now, it is not mandatory. However, so this is as somebody who's a teacher, I advise people to do one because it just sets you up for those experiences, right? And it's all about the experiences. So when you do a residency, you get more experience.
Okay. One of our would like to know, have you ever worked in a laboratory?
I have experiences. So yes, I have done laboratory work, and that was when we were doing, so it wasn't eye stuff. When I was trying to get experiences, I made sure that marine biology lab.
A marine biology lab?
Yes, I wanted to make sure, I wanted to see what they were doing, but that was as undergrad. And right now, the research that I do is more human research, like what prevalence of the disease, how many people have this disease, the disease of the eye, the research that I'm doing right now.
Oh, okay, nice. So we are going to have a question from the audience. Haley is going to be joining us, and she actually has just joined us. So hi, Haley. You have a question for Dr. Owoeye. You can go ahead and answer. You're on mute yourself. There we go.
I was wondering, like, what's the different settings that optometrists can practice in, and like the work-life balance?
Ooh, so good. That's an amazing question. So the different settings. So you can work in a hospital. You can work at, you can do private practice. So I have a lot of colleagues, a lot of my friends that have private practices. You can work in the VA system. So you can be one of those optometrists that takes care of our veterans, right? You can do research. So you can be a person who actually does research. So that teaches us how to treat other patients. You can be there. You can work in drug development. So the opportunities are absolutely endless of what you can do. You can do consulting. So I've done consulting before. You can do research. There's so much you can do. And then in terms of work-life balance, it's pretty good. I haven't been on call since, of course, with COVID, it kind of went different because I had to be on call. But you get to set the pace of how you want to see your patients, right? Like for me, it's 8 to 5. Anything beyond that, if it's called, then they go to the emergency room, depending on where you work, though. So if you work in a private practice, you call because you work in a private practice, right? But the opportunities are endless.
Great question, Haley. Thank you for
Thank you.
Where are you joining us from?
South Virginia.
From Virginia. Well, nice. Thank you for joining.
You're close to me.
Yeah, it's really close to.
Oh my, so this is one of those experiences. If you want to come hang out here, I will host you myself. I will give you a tour and you can come hang out in my office.
I was going to actually tour before I'd already scheduled and everything, but that down.
Yes, ma'am. So when it comes back up, when we're back up and running, please come on down. When you come down to the campus, say you're looking for Dr. O, I will come meet you myself.
Wow.
Okay, thank you. I look forward to it.
That's amazing. Well, I hope you guys connect. That's awesome. Thank you for joining us, Haley.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna have another question coming from our audience. We're gonna have Virginia joining us on video. She's gonna join us in just a moment. Here's Virginia. Hi, Virginia.
Hi, Dr. O. Hello, she's one.
Oh, we see one of the students. Well, hello.
Hi. I just had a question for Dr. O about what's been your greatest source of adversity in obtaining your education and then in your years of practice?
Ooh, okay. So adversity. One has been being an African American physician. So not only, and then also being a lady physician. So walking into the room, I have to tell people, I have to kind of set them up where they check all their biases. You see what I mean? So they, of course, as soon as I'm walking in the door, here's this young lady who's going to be the physician, and nobody knows my experience, right, until I walk in the door. So I have to love on them just to make sure that they forget the fact that I'm an African American physician. No, I'm a physician. So that's been one of the biggest ones. Thank you for asking that.
That was a great question. Thank you, Virginia. Another question we have coming from an audience is, what advice would you give someone who wants to join the medical field?
Okay, so I think I've been echoing it throughout. It's those experiences. Of course, because before you make this type of commitment, you want to make sure that it's something that you really want to do. So experiences like that young lady that jumped on, I already wrote her name down. I have to go find her, that lady from Virginia. So I want her to have that experience. So those of us that want to go into the medical profession, you should check it out. You should scope it out and make sure it's something that you want to do, because it's lifelong, right? So try to get as much experience as you possibly can. And then think about how you want to plot your world, right? You want that work-life balance, and you want, what are you trying to accomplish? So if you can answer that question. For me, I knew I wanted to take care of kids and make sure they see well. So natural fit. So make sure you're trying to accomplish your goal.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for those words of advice. I guess another question along those same lines is, you did a lot you knew very early on that you were going to be a pediatric optometrist. You knew that. Do you think there's anything else you could have done to better prepare yourself?
One thing that I could have done, and I want you guys to also learn from that, I could have leaned in a little bit more. So at my last job, here I was, this young lady at Johns Hopkins and doing my thing. I wish I had leaned in just a little bit more to connect with mentors a little bit more. I did, but I think I could have done more. So for you guys right now too, wherever you are, make sure you lean in, make sure you lean into whoever, or just to get their worldview and see what their experiences are as well.
Thank you. I love that, leaning in. Now, for someone who wants to do your job, because it's not for everyone, what did you say, like, what skills or mindsets did you think are most important for someone who wants to do what you're doing?
The biggest one is service. You need to be able to know that you are serving people. So if you go in and you say, oh, I just want to go in to make money, then you're not going to have your heart in it. But if you know, oh, I want to serve, like the vision screenings that I talked about, we go out into community, we go out into rural areas to give, that's because we want to serve. So you have to have that spirit of service. Not only that commitment, that consistency, that discipline, you have to have that as well.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
I'm sure our audience can appreciate that. I want to something else that you brought up about how you are an African American, you are a woman. Diversity is something that's important to you and something that you're focusing on. I know for a project you're doing. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing around diversity?
Okay, so what I'm doing right now is in the area where I live, the area here, this is in Appalachia. So individuals in Appalachia are underrepresented as well. So in order to reach out to them, I run like this this summer optometry camp, and also first look opportunities to bring students on to make sure that they can come see what we do. So those experiences, again, helping them gain those experiences. So part of the vision screenings that we do is not just to provide that outreach, it's also so that they can see somebody who's an eye doctor that they could say they want to be like. So it's all tied together. So all that leadership, it's all tied together, making sure my students are ready. So that's my work towards making sure that we reach that goal of having Appalachia also represented in our working population.
We have another question who's actually coming from Haley, and she wants to know how is the best way to go about job shadowing or getting clinical to see if you like it.
Whoever your eye doctor is probably somebody that you want to start with because you already have a relationship with them. So next time you go in for your eye appointment, just say, hey, you know what? I am interested in being just like you. But first of all, I would want to see what you're doing. May I please shadow you at the end of your day? Or can I come talk to you during lunch? Or can I just come, can I meet you at the coffee shop and you tell me about your experiences? That's another one. So that they don't have to commit too much, but then you're still getting information from them.
Okay. Are there any like professional journals or organizations that people could be a part of that could help them with that as well?
Okay, so the website that we clicked on, that website is one of the best websites for students that want to go into optometry. It has all the links about the entrance test that you have to take, all the names of all the schools here in the United States. I think we have schools. So all the schools, all the contacts, what you need to do, how you should prepare, new information, more videos. So you definitely want to go to that website. It's called futureidocs.org.
Futureidocs.org. Okay, we're going to put that in the chat for you guys so that you can, yes, Rebecca has put that in the chat for you guys. So if you want to check it out and learn more about being an optometrist, you can definitely check that out. But Dr. O, we know you are an optometrist. How similar is your experience, would you say, to other fields in the fields, like other types of doctors?
Ooh, so it's pretty good. The good thing is that you have to work together with other doctors. So here, if I'm checking a patient for their diabetes to make sure it didn't spill in the eye, I have to work with the endocrinologist, right?
Okay.
So also with my little kids, sometimes they turns. I don't do eye turn surgery, but my ophthalmology colleagues do. So I have to have a good relationship with them.
Okay. What is, you said eye turn surgery, what is that?
So kids that have a cocked eye or a wandering eye.
Oh,
So
okay.
in order to fix it, you have to line them up with surgery, and my surgeon colleagues would do that. I don't do that type of surgery, so I have them do that surgery.
Okay. I know like for a medical school, which is different than optometry school, but
Correct.
when you go to medical school, like there are different rotations that you're supposed to go through. Is there something similar for school as well?
Yes, ma'am. So we have that too. So the way we have that is in the 4th year of school, we actually send our students out all over the country. And this is true for all optometry schools. And you get to go shadow. See, there's that experience again. You get to go work with optometry different settings. So the one that's at a school, the one that's at a VA, the one that's different, get to go all around and shadow with them. And you spend 3 months each for a whole year.
Okay. Nice. So that makes sense. So then you're able to really see like if this is what you want to do and which setting you want to work in and which group of people you want to help.
That is true.
Great. We have another question coming from the audience. This question is coming from Tori, and Tori would like to know, how competitive is it to get into optometry school?
So it's pretty competitive. But then, Tori, if that's something that you want to do, guess what? You are competitive yourself already because you already know this is what you want to do, right? So you set yourself up to be one of the people in the pool. Some of the things that you have to do, of course, you have to do your biology in college. You have to do your chemistry in college. You have to do your physics in college. Make sure that when you're doing all of this, you're giving it your all so that you can make yourself competitive. You can look good. Your brand can look good by the time you're looking at admissions into an optometry school. So put your all in it to get your good grades so that you can be competitive.
Okay, that makes sense then. Giving some great words of advice and some great to all of our athletes, those who may want to be optometrists, or even the people in the audience who may just be interested in the medical field as a whole. As we're preparing now to wrap up, again, if anyone does have any questions, we have a few minutes where we can possibly have a few more questions. But Dr. O, what would be some parting words of advice just in general? Our audience members who are in a variety of grades and they're thinking about careers and what they may want to do when they grow up, so to speak. What advice would you have for them to think about and to hold on and moving forward?
Okay, so the biggest thing that I want you to do is, so you have homework tonight. I give homework all the time. The biggest thing I want you to do is I want you to think about what you are trying to accomplish and what you want to do when you grow up. Like, who are you trying to impact and how do you want to do that? And that's how you're going to know, oh, okay, I want to go into the healthcare profession. Why? You have to always have a why. Why do you want to go into the healthcare profession? Because why do you want to help people? Keep on saying the whys. Why do you want to help people? I want to help them because they're disadvantaged. Why? Because I know they have a lot of disease in that population. Why? Maybe you can get to the root. So you need to be able to know the why you want to do it. Stay consistent, stay disciplined, keep on working hard, look good when you are applying to whatever profession you want to get into.
That makes sense. And that's some great advice. And I think that's applicable to anybody, even me right now. So I'm happy that you had those words of wisdom for us. So with that, we are going to wrap up. I want to thank you so much for taking the time evening to spend, an hour with us and talk about your life and your job and the incredible work that you're doing to keep everyone's eyes healthy. We cannot thank you enough, Dr. O. Thank you to all of our attendees for your wonderful questions. Thank you to those of you who came on camera to ask your questions live. We appreciate you. If everyone would like to see some highlights from this interview, you can definitely check us out on social media at Trey Athletes. And with that, we're going to close for tonight. So to athletes everywhere, we're out.
Yay.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Good night.